Okay, today's lesson is on the greatest common factor, or the GCF, the greatest common factor. And to just remind you that factors are two numbers that when they are multiplied together, they are going to give you a product. So 1 is a factor, and so is 12. And there are more than just two factors for 12. Let's find all the factors for 12. We have 1 and 12, because 1 times 12 is 12. We have 2 and 6, because 2 times 6 is 12. And we have 3 and 4, because 3 times 4 equals 12. So the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Okay, let's find the factors for, let's say, 15. Factors for 15 are, we always start with 1 and 15. Is 2 going to be a factor? We can use our divisibility rules. No, because this is not does not end in an even number, so 2 is not going to be a factor. What about 3? Well, basic facts tells us 3 times 5 is 15, but also if we added 1 plus 5, we'd get 6. And 6 can be divided by 3, so 3 and 5 are factors of 15. Anything else? Is 4? Well, is 5. Yep, 5 times 3, but we already have that, 5, 3. And 6, 7, nope, we're done. So the factors for 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to look as what is the greatest common factor, the GCF. Sorry about that, you know that happens on this tablet. The GCF, what's the greatest common factor of 12 and 15? Well, we go back up here and we look at all of our factors. Now, they've got 1 in common, but do they have anything higher? Well, there's a 3. A 3 here and a 3 there. Do they have any other factor higher than a 3? 4, nope, they don't. So the greatest common factor for 12 and 15 is 3. Okay, well that looks easy enough. However, it starts to get pretty tricky when you get into larger numbers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little trick to find the greatest common factor a lot faster than factoring out the numbers. And I call it the ladder method. So let's go back to our 12 and 15. Okay, so we're going to put 12 and 15. And we are going to put them inside. This is kind of like an upside down division sign. Because basically that's what we're going to do. We're going to divide. And we're going to say to ourselves, what number, what factor can go into both 12 and 15? It has to go into both 12 and 15. Well, think about your divisibility rules. Well, 1 can, but besides 1, what else can go in there? Well, 3 can. So now I'm going to do some division. 3 divided by 12. I'm going to put my answer on the bottom here, though, instead of on the top like we normally do when we would divide. And now I'm going to say 3. How many times can 3 go into 15? Well, it can go into it 5 times. All right? And then I'm going to start all over again. So I'm going to put another little, looks like a little ladder, little step. And I'm going to say to myself, what number can go into 4 and 5? Is there a number that can go into 4 and 5? You say, well, about the only thing that can go into 4 and 5 is 1. And 1 goes into 4 4 times, and 1 goes into 5 5 times. That's supposed to be a 5. Well, does it look like I'm just going to keep going on and on with 1? When that happens, you know you're done. when the only number that can go into both of them is 1, you're done. Get to 1 and you're done. All right? You can even write that. Get to 1 and you're done. So what do we do now? How do we figure out what the GCF is? Well, greatest common factor, you make a big G, and you're just going to take the numbers that are on the outside here. Not these guys, because they don't fit into the G. And then whatever is inside this little G spot, you multiply those two together. So 3 times 1. What's 3 times 1? The answer is 3. So the greatest common factor for 12 and 15 is 3. Does that look familiar? Let's look it over here. That's what we did last time when we compared factors. We found the greatest common factor was 3. We do it this way with the ladder method. Pretty slick, huh? Okay, let's try another. Okay, this time I want you to work along with me. Okay, we're going to find the greatest common factor of 60 and 45. So let's rewrite the problem. Okay, so we're finding 60 and 45. Write that down. Put your first ladder step. And now we have to say to ourselves, self, what number can go into both 60 and 45? What factor do they both have in common? Okay, think of your divisibility rules. Let's look at what they end in. Ends in 0, and this one ends in 5. What do we know about divisibility rules? Think, think, think. Aha! Yes, that a number is divisible by 5 if it ends in 0 or 5. So we know that 60 can be divided by 5, and so can 45. So we put our 5 outside there. Now get out your handy-dandy calculators and find out what 60 divided by 5 is, and then what 45 divided by 5 is. You can pause the video, and then when you get the answer, check what you've got. Okay, so 5 can go into 60 12 times, and 5 can go into 45 9 times. All right, let's keep going. Make another ladder, and then I'm going to say to myself, self, what number can go into both 12 and 9? What number is divisible by 12 and 9? Think about your divisibility rules or basic facts. We know that 3 can go into both 12 and 9, right? So let's put our 3 down. And now, basic facts here. 3 can go into 12, or 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 3 can go into 9 3 times. Okay? All right, let's go again, because we haven't gotten to 1. We make another ladder, and now we say to ourselves, self, what number can go into 4 and 3? Well, 2 can go into 4, but it can't go into 3. It has to go into both of them. And it looks like the only number that can go into, that is divisible by both 4 and 3, is going to be 1. And 1 can go into 4 4 times, and 1 can go into 3 3 times. Well, I came to 1. I've gotten to 1, so 1 and done. There's only one more thing left to do, and that is to make my G with the outside numbers. And then whatever is inside this bubble G, I am going to multiply together. So 5 times 3 times 1. And 5 times 3 is 15, and anything times 1 is the same number. So 5 times 3 times 1 is 15. So we say the greatest common factor of 60 and 45 is 15. And that's the ladder method. Okay, we are going to do another one for practice. And after you write down the problem, I want you to pause and then work it out. Okay, and then start up the video again to see how you did. Okay, I have such faith in your abilities that I'm going to give you 3 numbers. That's right, you heard it, 3. So let's say we have 24, 36. That's supposed to be a 36. Let's try that again. 36, you should be writing this down. 48. We are going to find the greatest common factor for all 3 of those. So we start off with our first ladder step. And now what you're going to do, you're going to say to yourself, what number can go into all 3 of those numbers? Has to go into all 3 of them. Think about your divisibility rules. Check out what each of these babies end with. They're all even numbers. So what do you remember? If they're all even numbers, that means that they can be divisible by 2. All right, go ahead and pause and then write your answers of how many times 2 can go into 24 down here, how many times 2 can go into 36 underneath here, and how many times 2 can go into 48 underneath the 48. Okay, how'd you do? Did you get these numbers? If you didn't, go back, check your calculator. You might have plugged something in wrong. Okay, so we're going to make another ladder step, and we ask ourselves the same question. What number can go into all 3 of these numbers? Okay. Ooh, check it out again. This ends in an even number, that ends in an even number, and so does that one. So what number can I divide all 3 of them by? Go ahead and pause and do the next step, and when you're done, start it up again. All right, how's it looking? Did you get these numbers? 6 times 2 is 12, 9 times 2 is 18, 12 times 2 is 24. Okay, let's continue on. We're going to make another ladder, and we say to ourselves, what number can go into all 3 of them? I got an odd number here, so I can't do 2's, so think about my divisibility rules. And really, if you're pretty good with your basic facts, you should notice something right here. Go ahead and pause and take care of the next level. Okay, did you come up with the 3? 3 can go into 6 twice, 3 can go into 9 3 times, 3 can go into 12 4 times. All right, so let's go again. We say to ourselves, what number can go into all 3 of those? And it's not looking too good for any other numbers besides 1. Because 1 can go into 2 just 2 times, 1 can go into 3, 1 can go into 4. Looks like 1 and done, right? Okay, so what do we do now? How do we finish off this problem? Go ahead and pause, finish off the problem, and then on your paper I want you to write what the greatest common factor is for 24, 36, and 48. Okay, did you make your big G? And then did you multiply 2 times 2 times 3 times 1? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, and we get the greatest common factor is 12. Well done. I'm going to show you something really cool that